What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into disaster after 4 friends who were all drunk left the bar in the city without a designated driver. Designate a driver. Don't drink and drive.
This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Monday, the 6th day of January in the year 2025. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Notwithstanding the spate of power outages that gripped large sections of the country throughout last year, Prime Minister Mark Phillips today said the Guyana Power and Light Company managed to end the year on a positive note, securing more than enough power to keep the lights on. At a press conference this afternoon, Prime Minister Phillips said the national grid now has access to 267 megawatts of power.
That we end the year on a positive note, notwithstanding all the challenges. We've increased total generation capacity in Guyana from 207 megawatts to 267 megawatts. In 2024 alone, we have increased the capacity by 124 megawatts.
But some persons are already complaining about blackouts so far for this year. The Prime Minister explained that 28 megawatts of power was brought on stream at the Columbia Power Station. And to boost the existing capacity, the government rented 2 power ships last year. The first providing 36 megawatts of power, and the second, which arrived towards the end of last year, has been providing 60 megawatts of power. In Regina, GPL also added 1.2 megawatts of electricity and 450 kilowatts of power at Wickenham. Prime Minister Phillips said at present the peak demand for power is at 205 megawatts.
Have in excess of what is required, not only to supply electricity, but also to have the spinning reserve that the technical people will talk about, and to cater for growth.
Meanwhile, Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar, said now that GPL has more than enough power, there are a number of engines that will be taken offline for a major overhaul.
I have some engines that has gone over their required scheduled maintenance. I have had a meeting with the leadership of GPL, PPDI and others to make sure that they have a schedule, and that schedule will govern how they bring down these engines, to make sure that whilst the engines are being repaired, we have enough generating capacity to deal with demand, and we have enough spinning reserve to deal with the demand.
Minister Indar said in his discussions with GPL, he underscored the importance of effectively managing the engines and having the works completed within the established time frame. The government, he said, has also been upgrading its transmission network to adequately dispatch the bulk power. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Your own home is so much more than just 4 walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you. Let's cash out. Let's cash out.
Shop $5,000 or more at any Massey stores for a chance to win a 2024 Nissan Qashqai Sense and $100,000 every 2 weeks with Massey Stores Christmas Jackpot Promotion.
Let's tell you now that with additional reports of cooking gas cylinders exploding, the Consumer Affairs Commission has announced that it will be carrying out an investigation of its own into the occurrences. The Commission said it has taken note of the reported incidents and wishes to remind the suppliers that the Consumer Affairs Act mandates that a person shall not supply consumer goods or services which fail to comply with the general safety requirements, offer or agree to supply goods or services that are not safe, or expose or possess unsafe goods or services. A person who contravenes the subsection of the Act commits an offense, the Competition and Consumer Affairs Commission noted. The body said it has received 2 official complaints, which were filed by affected persons, and has since commenced its investigations. The investigations will engage the relevant industry experts to make assessments and recommendations based on the findings. The CCAC said it intends to pursue the investigations until there is redress. In the meantime, the Consumer Affairs body is also urging consumers to exercise the greatest caution and safety protocols during the use of cooking gas products. Consumers are reminded to reach out to the CCAC at its website ccac.gov.gy or the WhatsApp number 625-0557 if there are any complaints. The leaders of the opposition political parties are planning to meet to discuss potential collaboration ahead of this year's general and regional elections. While confirming plans for the meeting, leader of the People's National Congress Reform Aubrey Norton told reporters on Friday that specific details of the meeting are still to be completed, but the parties are likely to hammer out the process by the middle of this month.
All the parties will get together and decide what they do. It is not for me to say we will do it alone or we'll do it together. That is a decision for the political parties involved.
2 years ago, the Alliance for Change formally withdrew from the multi-party coalition with the APNU. The party said it is not opposed to rejoining the coalition, but a new pact must be put in place before any such coalition arrangement is finalized. Mr. Norton said his party is also willing to rejoin the coalition with the AFC, as the party believes that the United Front can see the regaining of the seat of government.
I cannot say to you what mechanism we will use at the end. The process will determine what happens, and out of that process, we will determine how we report to the people of Guyana.
The Working People's Alliance has also recently stressed the importance of opposition unity as the Guyana Elections Commission prepares for elections. Mr. Norton said his party, the PNC, will continue to engage with all opposition political parties, including the Alliance for Change and other parties in and out of the APNU alliance. On the judicial front, leader of the Alliance for Change, Nigel Hughes, has called on President Irfaan Ali to make his criteria for the appointment of the substantive Chancellor and Chief Justice known to the public. At a recent press conference, President Ali said he is actively considering the appointments, while dodging questions as to whether he has found favor in the 2 judges who are currently acting in the positions. AFC leader Nigel Hughes said from all indications, the president might have his own nominees for the top judicial positions.
It is now evident that President Ali does not intend to confirm either the Chancellor, Ms. Yana Cummings, or the Chief Justice, Ms. Roxanne George, in their respective positions. They have served in these positions for 7 years, and it is evident now that he does not intend to confirm them.
Mr. Hughes said given that it is an election year, the president may want to make appointments to the judiciary outside of those acting. But those appointments will have to be examined with some level of suspicion.
In the interest of transparency and in the interest of this country, we believe that the bases upon which judges, the Chancellor and the Chief Justice is appointed in their individual cases must be made public. So we first of all should know what the criteria is. this should no longer be left to the head of state as some form of privilege, but the entire country should know what the selection criteria is for the appointment of judges, whether at the High Court or Court of Appeal level.
The AFC leader, who's also an attorney, said the issue of acting appointments in the local judiciary has gone on for far too long and does not augur well for the legal profession.
So in the case of the Chancellor and the Chief Justice, if the President does not intend to inform us or does not intend to confirm them, he needs to inform all of us about the reason why he would have allowed them to have acted for 7 years and now at this late stage in the day, not confirmed them.
He also said although there were judges identified for the Court of Appeal, there have been no appointments there either. The president must secure the agreement of the opposition leader for the appointments to the top judicial positions. The opposition leader has offered his no objection if the nominees are the two judges currently acting in the top two positions.
GCOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. If you were 18 years or over on December 31, 2024, and you're a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you have changed your address since you were registered, you need to visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your new area of residence to apply for a transfer. Wednesday, January 15, 2025 is the last day you can apply for a transfer during this exercise. For more information, contact the GCOM on 2250-278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Monster, bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors, that me crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster, grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Buster, bust the flavors. Buster, bust the flavors.
President Irfan Ali has noted notable improvements in the performance of the forestry and bauxite industries in the past few years. In a statement yesterday, the president said under the previous government, both sectors appeared on the verge of collapse, accusing the APNU-AFC administration of poor performance and poor management. He said it was under the previous administration that two of the largest investors, Bai Shenlin and Barama, were forced to pull out of the forestry sector.
So that market dried up and the cost of production increased rapidly. And why did the cost of production increase rapidly? All the incentives were removed. The incentives were removed from the forestry sector. There was no support in terms of infrastructure to support the small miners. So the export of the total production, which had reached a peak of 500,000 cubic meter annually in 2015, fell to 400,000 cubic meter by 2020. Exports of the forestry sector declined by 35%.
The president said the closure of Barama's logging operations resulted in a significant decline, not only in production and revenue, but also a decline in jobs by some 15,000. Due to the dwindling cash flow, the Guyana Forestry Commission was unable to pay its staff and meet other financial commitments, such as the payment of utility bills, the president claimed. The president said the forestry sector is doing much better today, explaining that over the past 3 years alone, 150 small concessions and 5 large concessions were approved, while offering a range of tax concessions.
The VAT on machinery and equipment was removed. The tax concessions on ATVs were provided. We provided tax concessions on ATVs. The VAT on exports were reversed. They had the VAT on machinery and equipment. They had the VAT on ATVs for small and medium size. They had the VAT on exports. And they had VAT on hinterland travel. Can you imagine that?
And the government has also amended the log export policy to allow small millers to export logs, and is in the process of establishing a timber legality assurance system, which is necessary under the European Union Forest Law Enforcement Governance and Trade Program to secure a license. President Ali said based on the policies and programs implemented, the forestry industry has seen an accumulative increase in production by more than $15.6 billion since 2020. Employment within the sector has increased, he said, to 25,000. Meanwhile, the president also said the bauxite industry was hard hit.
Between 2014 and 2020, total production contracted by 40%. Yes, my friends. Production went down by 40%. More than 50% of the persons who are employed where? In Region 10, primarily from Linden. More than 50% of those employed lost their jobs between 2015 and 2020.
The bauxite industry has been under decline for several years, with the biggest set of job losses taking place under the previous PPP government. President Ali said investments by both sides will see production increase by over 250,000 tons this year and 400,000 tons next year. Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Susan Rodriguez, has boasted that 98.3% of Guyana's population now has access to potable water, even as there are regular complaints of the low water pressure in many communities and discolored water coming through taps. At a press conference recently, the minister said the Housing and Water Ministry is well on its way to providing 90% of persons living on the coast with treated water. She explained that through the Guyana Water Incorporated, the ministry has been focusing heavily on unserved communities and that do not have access to a reliable source of potable water.
More than 4,350 households benefited from first-time access in the year 2023. In 2024, some 2,800 residents benefited for the first time from first-time access to potable water supply under the Unserved Areas Program.
Minister Rodriguez said the government has been continuously expanding its water network to meet the needs of citizens, including those in new and developing communities. She said the Housing and Water Ministry, under its Coastal Water Treatment Program 2020-2025, has also increased access to treated water.
We are on track to ensuring that we achieve 90% treated water coverage on the coastline by the end of 2025. In 2020, when we did the assessment of the total population that is receiving treated water, it was 52%. And so the strategic plan was developed to ensure that we increase treated water coverage from 52% to 90%. And we are on track to ensuring that that is delivered by the end of 2025.
It was explained that the coastal water treatment program has a total of 4 components and includes the construction of 7 large water treatment plants, upgrades to 12 existing water treatment plants, and the installation of 200 kilometers of new transmission mains. All 7 of the water treatment plants are under construction and are expected to be completed within months, together with the upgraded plants. 55-year-old security officer Brian McKenzie lost his life tragically on Sunday after losing control of his motorcycle and crashing into a section of the metal guardrail at Rahammonstern, Houston, on the east bank of the Marara. The entire incident was captured on surveillance video cameras in the area. McKenzie, who was originally from Caribbean Berbice, was seen proceeding west on the southern carriageway of the Houston roadway when he suddenly lost control on the turn, slamming into the median, which pitched him off the motorcycle and into a power pole. A police report said the man appeared to have been riding his motorcycle at a fast rate. The impact of the collision resulted in McKenzie suffering from multiple injuries. He was pronounced dead on the scene by a doctor. Investigations are ongoing tonight.
GCOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. If you were 18 years or over on December 31, 2024, and you're a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed and, if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can object to anyone who you believe does not qualify for inclusion in the OLE. To do so, you must be listed in the same divisional list as the person you are objecting to. You must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to make an objection. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Wednesday, the 22nd of January 2025. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-027-829 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyoil has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into disaster after 4 friends who were all drunk left the bar in the city without a designated driver. Designate a driver. Don't drink and drive.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look. You know the one. Or one touch. Even one word. I can start with one step. Or one promise. One thrill. One first time. One deep breath. One leap of faith. One day to remember. Or one night to forget. One moment. So many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life. Just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Across the region tonight, Ecuador's former Vice President Jorge Glass was returned to prison hours after he was temporarily evacuated for security reasons amid chaotic scenes inside the jail, the country's prison authority said on Sunday. Earlier in the day, his lawyer said the former vice president had been evacuated from the prison after there was an attempt on his life by inmates. She said the government was responsible for the situation. Prisoners cause incidents and a clear strategy to destabilize order and peace in the country, the Ecuadorian prison agency said. It added that the former vice president was taken back to prison after the armed forces carried out weapons and explosives control operations. The agency did not mention the assassination allegations and did not respond to requests for comments. The Barbados Police Service is carrying out investigations tonight surrounding a shooting incident which took place this morning and which left 2 persons nursing multiple gunshot injuries. The incident occurred just before 2 o'clock this morning at South District St. George in Barbados. According to police reports, the victims were a male, a 36-year-old who was contracted to drive employees home from an establishment, and the other victim was a 53-year-old woman, an employee of the establishment. She was the front seat passenger of the vehicle. They were both shot multiple times by an unknown male in a white motor car. The registration for that car is unknown, the police said. The victims were transported to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital by ambulance. The police in Barbados are looking for anyone with information about this morning's shooting incident. And finally tonight, international news. The BBC reports that 4 years to the day after a mob of Donald Trump supporters violently besieged the U.S. Capitol, Congress formally certified the incoming president's re-election in a special session. Vice President Kamala Harris, who Trump defeated in last year's election, presided over the event as required by the U.S. Constitution. But the shadow of the 6th of January 2021 lingered over this morning's proceedings, despite Trump and his allies' campaign to recast the attack as a day of love. Heavy security was in place in Washington, D.C., and current President Joe Biden vowed there would be no repeat of the violence 4 years ago. Trump celebrated the moment on Truth Social, writing that Congress certifies the great election victory, a big moment in history. The day was extraordinary in its normalcy, given the chaos of 4 years before. Harris stood at the front of the U.S. House chamber with a somber expression as lawmakers read out each state's election results before formally declaring their authenticity. Though the results declared Trump the victor, Harris received a standing ovation from the Democratic side of the chamber when she read out her own electoral vote tally. Vice President-elect J.D. Vance was in attendance. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to have a safe and enjoyable night.